Good morning, it's day 41, and we are going to Yellowstone together. All right! The day started out in Bozeman, Montana, and it stopped raining. What's up with Montana? And on the day I'm leaving their towns, it stops raining, but while I'm there, it rains. Anyways, gorgeous view of the mountains on the way out of town. Made my way to Yellowstone, passed through the Arch. Yellowstone is the first national park, so it's sort of special. Well, all the national parks are special. Well, most of them are. Anyways, so this one was special, and you got to go through the fun arch, and then you get to drive around it. I'm a very good tour guide. So, because it's still April, a lot of Yellowstone is closed due to snow, but I did get to go to Old Faithful, the Mammoth Hot Springs. I got to see some of the mud things, mud baths? No, they're not baths, mud somethings. Hang on. Paint pots. They're called paint pots for some reason, but they're like little mud geysers almost, but they sort of bubble all the time. And some of them are really cool colors. Some of them do spout sort of like a little mini geyser. And then there was just some really neat patterns in the mud nearby. So I enjoyed walking around there. The smell of sulfur is quite potent. So let's start at the beginning. The first is the Mammoth Hot Springs, and there is this like terrace of limestone formation, and so it's always constantly changing as water and limestone are still rolling through it. You can't tell like day to day, but I bet you year to year it looks slightly different, and then if you compare it years on, it looks even more different. So you could walk around. They have a wooden path for you to follow, and just you get a different angle every time you walk around. It's awesome. Mammoth Hot Springs, great start. One thing about Yellowstone is that there are a lot of bison there, and they don't care what you're doing. So a lot of times I got stuck in bison traffic jams, and that just means there's bison going down the road, everybody's stopping to take pictures because there's only one lane you can go through. Sometimes the bison were on both lanes, and you had to wait until they moved to keep moving. The bison traffic jams did not bother me in the slightest. It got me close to bison, and golly, they've got these fuzzy faces that are just adorable. Next up on the Yellowstone Hit Parade is the paint pots. They're fountain paint pots. Some of them were like clear blue and some of them were mud. And it was quite a sight to behold. And there was another wooden path you could walk around, surprisingly clear of snow. Although I guess it was really hot over there because the springs are warm. That's how springs work. After checking out several different paint pots and little geysers along the way, I went to Old Faithful and walked around while I waited for the appointed time for Old Faithful to erupt. So walking around Old Faithful, there's a bunch of different geysers and some pools, and one of them is like incredibly blue, and then little geysers are going off all the time, and that's amazing. So walked around a little bit because I had 40 minutes to wait until the next one. I think I had just missed it because my sense of timing is impeccable. There are some weird sounds outside of this hotel room right now. Weird sounds. So I sat down and waited for Old Faithful to erupt, and she did 10 minutes later than I thought. And it was cool to see. It was really cool. It's sort of, I don't know, anticlimactic, but still cool. It was really high up and probably maybe 5 minutes long, but there are some false starts to it, so everybody's got their camera ready, you're ready to go, and then there's some false starts. And then you think, oh, is that it? And then there's like maybe 30 seconds, 45 seconds of nothing, and then, whoo, a big geyser goes off. So that's Old Faithful. Am I describing it adequately? Maybe, maybe not. On the way out of Yellowstone, I went a different way than I came in, and I saw some elk who were just grazing around. Now, the elk had lost their antlers because it's springtime, and that's what happens in the spring. Don't you worry. And it was sort of neat to see something other than bison. Oh, but I did see a little white fox He was too fast for me to get a picture. And that was awesome too. So there are a lot of animals in Yellowstone, and I think sort of a cooler temperature is what they love. That is the Yellowstone quick hits. After Yellowstone, I drove down to Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and I drove through some of the crappiest weather ever. I was driving through a forest because that's the way the GPS took me, thanks Wallace and Gromit, and there was a lot of snow, and good thing I'm from the snowy north, otherwise I think me and the Prius would have been stuck in a ditch with no one to help us. Anyways, so I made it to Jackson Hole just fine, checked into my hotel, and then per the young man at the front desk's recommendation, I went to the Snake River Brewing Company's restaurant and had one of their delicious beers and a delicious burger, and then I turned in because it had been quite a day. That's all you're going to get for day 41. I think that was enough, actually. I'll see you tomorrow for day 42. Goodbye, friends. And then goodbye, family. But not goodbye to you strangers, because the strangers are never gone, right? Right. This is getting weird? Yes. It's weird. Part of my nature? Absolutely. Goodbye.